we're going to be looking at the law of cosines. Now this is another method we can use to solve for oblique triangles. And this can be used when we're not able to use the law of sines or right triangles. So remember, the law of sines we're always going to use if we have side angle, remember that's our ambiguous case, or if we have angle side. Now, but what happens if we have side angle side? Remember, when you have side angle side, if you look at your right triangle, you have a side, and you have some angle in between them. And if you have side, side, in other words, you have three sides of a triangle. Well, in these two cases, this is where we use the law of cosines. Now, you might be asking yourself, what about angle side angle? Well, if you give an angle side angle, you can easily convert that to angle side, and we're going to talk about that later on today. Now, the law of cosines is a little bit longer. It says this: a squared equals b squared plus c squared. It's almost like the Pythagorean theorem, minus 2 bc cosine of a. Now, the one thing I want you to always notice, okay, we're going to do 3 of these rules here. They're all basically the same, is that the angle and the side we're looking for are always going to be the same. Even if we tried to do like b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2 ac cosine of b. Same idea. These are going to be the same. Now the difference of this is we are subtracting at this little part right here, this minus 2ac, 2ab. So whatever these numbers are, they go right here. So it's just a rule that you have to memorize. Next one, c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of c. But to be all honest, if you just know one of them, you know them all. Now there is an alternate form, and that's to get the angle, okay? There is an alternate form here, and that's to get the angle. And I'm going to go ahead and write that up here, alternate form. If I want to solve for a here, solve for the cosine of a is just algebra. A squared minus b squared minus c squared divided by this negative 2bc. And you don't actually have to memorize that one. If you know algebra, you can always derive it, okay? And this is the law of cosines. So let's take a look at a few examples here. All right. Given triangle ABC, they give us this angle. So I draw, first thing I'm going to do is, of course, draw out the triangle. A, B, C. They give me the angle as 48 degrees. B, remember B is the side opposite. It's going to be 13. And C, the side opposite here, is going to be 19. Now, take a look what they gave us. They gave me a side, the angle in between, and another side. This is side angle side. This matches up with my law of cosines. So we're going to use our cosines law here. Now, so we have to find out everything we need to find. Well, we need little a, we need angle B, and angle C. So if I look at my rule here, I'm probably going to be using this first one here. And they're all, like I said, they're all the same. We'll see that in just a second here. So the easiest thing to find, since they're giving me B and C and my angle A, I'm going to go ahead and find A first. So they gave me A. So I'm going to find little a first. So to get little a, we set up our law of cosine. Remember, it says a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of a. And I just plug in all my numbers here. A squared equals b squared becomes 13 squared plus 19 squared minus 2. B is 13. C is 19, and I'm going to get the cosine of my angle, 48 degrees. And I just use my calculator, type all that in, make sure you are in radian mode, degree mode, whoops, clear, mode, go to degree mode, hit enter, enter, okay? And I just type all of this in my calculator. So it's going to go 13 squared plus 19 squared minus 2 times 13 times 19 times the cosine of 48. Be careful of your parentheses, and that's going to give me 199.449. Now remember, that is a squared. To get a, we just take its square root. Second square root, 199.449, and we get 14.12. Sorry, we get 14.12. So there's a. And I can write that up here, 14.12. And now we got to get the angles. Now we know, once you do law of cosines, you're always only going to do law of cosines once. Because once I have this side here, now take a look. I have side angle, or I can now use my law of sines. And that's what I'm going to use for the rest of here, my law of sines, to get B. Now, remember, when you're going to use law of sines to get B, start off with a known one. I know A's, so I'm going to go the sine of 48 over 14.12 equals the sine of B over 13. And I'm just going to cross multiply, so I get 14.12 sine of B equals, and if I just multiply those two together on my calculator, we get the sine of 48 times 13, and that's going to give me 9.661. Divided by the 14.12, 9.661 divided by the 14.12, we get 0.6842. Go out about 4 decimal places when you're dealing with trig. And we just take the inverse trig, inverse of sine, inverse of 0.6842, and that's going to give us B, second sine 0.6842, and that gives me 43.17. So angle B is 43.17 degrees. And there's our angle B. So we have little a, we just found B, and now we got to find angle C. Now if you notice, it gets progressively easier. Law of cosines, law of sines, and then to get angle C, what do you think we can use? Yeah, we can just use what we know. Angle C, a triangle has to have a total angle degree of 180. So I just get 180 minus my angle A, which was 48 degrees, minus the angle that we just found, 43.17 degrees. And we just type that in in our calculator. And if you type all that in your calculator, we're going to take 180 minus 48 minus 43.17, and we get 88.83 degrees. And we are finished. All right. So let's take a look at question 2. Now we're going to start question 2 for you, and I'll let you guys finish up this on your own. They gave us this triangle, but notice they didn't give us an angle. They gave us all 3 sides. So if I draw out my triangle, A, B, C, always draw a triangle. I will mark it wrong if you don't. Side A is 14, B is 24, C is 19. Now here, what do we need to get? We need angles A, B, and C. So we need to get an angle here, but they gave us all sides. It is side, 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 and if you look way up here to notes, side, side, side is one of our rules for cosine. So therefore, this is going to be our cosines rule. And it doesn't matter which one I want to use. So I can use a squared, blah, blah, blah. I can find capital angle B, I can find angle A, I can find angle C. It doesn't matter which one you want to find. It's all solved the same way. I'm going to go ahead and use the a squared because that's the most common one. So we're going to go ahead and find angle A. Using the rule, a squared plus b squared minus, whoops, let me go rewrite this. Sorry about that. To get angle A, it's a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of A. And just plug in everything. We know what A is. A is 14. So I can go 14 squared equals b squared, which is 24 squared, plus c squared, which is 19 squared, minus 2 times 24 times 19 times the cosine of a. And it's just simplifying it. Okay? We just type all of this in our calculator. Okay? For example, 14 squared, well, we don't need that one. That's 196 equals. And I just type this in, 24 squared. That's 576. Plus 19 squared. Okay? That's 361. Minus, and I just type all this in, 2 times 24 times 19 equals 912. That becomes minus 912 cosine of a. And I just solve for this. I take my 196 minus the 576 minus 361, and that becomes negative 741. You're going to get good at this. You're going to be doing all of this in one step, and that's fine to do if you can do that already. And now I divide. I'm trying to get cosine. So I take that negative 741, I divide it by negative 912. Whoops, negative 912. And I get this 0.8125 equal to cosine of a. And then to solve it, just take the inverse cosine of 0.8125, which we've done before, and that's going to give us our angle. Second cosine, 0.8125, and that gives us 35.66 degrees. And that's our angle A. Now, if you go back up to your picture, that's this one right here, 35.66 degrees. Now, to get angle B, what I want you guys to do at home, use the law of sines. And then when you're done with C, you're going to get angle C by similar to what we did up here to part 1. Okay? All right. So when you're done with this, please do me a favor, go to part 2 to learn about another way to find area using what we call Heron's formula.